Welcome back to Origami Snowman. Whoops, hang on 1 second. I hold on. I'm so sorry. Wait. Okay, I don't know if that's any better. I forgot I had my earbuds in, and the microphones are terrible. I'm so sorry. Hey, welcome back to Origami Snowman. My name is Matt. My last video, I told a story about my mother, and I thought it would only be fair to tell one about my father. Um, he left, and now he's dead. I know, not a great story, but sorry, was that dark? That was dark. Okay. Yeah, I'm the youngest of three kids, so I just make a joke of everything, cause humor is how I cope. Yeah. As soon as my dad died, I started making zombie jokes. Yeah, I know, not real classy. Um, but neither was he. So it's fine. It's fine. No, my dad was not he was not a great dad. My cousins were all like, "Oh, he was the best uncle," and that's terrific. Um, your uncle, fantastic. My dad, tragic. So I just, yeah, I don't. I know in the Bible it's like, oh, children obey your parents or whatever. I don't know. Respect them, maybe. I don't remember what it says. But man, my dad was not, he was a cautionary tale. He was. What do hey, what bad example do you need? Do you need a bad example of like how to not be a good dad? He nailed it. How to be a terrible husband? Awesome. How to be a pretty irresponsible truck driver? He drank like crazy all the time. What else do we got? Oh, how to manage your diabetes poorly? Yep, he's got you covered there too. He just nothing he did really. He never did things the right way if there was an easier way to do it, and he was always you know like okay with the results. I don't know. Anyway, so no, you're. Oh, that's weird. Thank you, Spider-Man, for that. Um, you're probably not gonna hear. I don't really know any fun stories about my dad. I got more about my mom. But no, if you want an interesting, somewhat fictional but not very fictional portrayal of my father. I know I pushed my books a lot, but if you read Secretly Kings, available on Amazon, Matt Beers is my name. If you look up Secretly Kings, you'll never find it. If you look up Matt Beers, you'll find The Blood Pines, and then you click on my name, and it'll show the other books. Don't read Whithersoever. It was not great. Other people will say, no, I like that one. It was not good. I'm not a fan of that one. But Secretly Kings, if you want to know kind of what my dad was like in a novel setting, that's what my dad was like. He always said the wrong thing. He always cut out when things got a little bit hard. He was coming to town one time, and was like, "Hey, why don't you come and meet me at uh, an establishment where I was not about to go, a somewhat disreputable establishment where men went to drink and look, and there were females there, but most of them were employed by the establishment. We'll just leave it at that. I won't go into any other detail. But no, like that's how well my father knew me. He thought he couldn't understand why I would have a problem meeting him and my brother, who's also not great. Sorry, I'll throw that out there. Um, why I would want to meet them there. That's nope. That's not. Yeah, my dad didn't know me. Didn't he wanted things to be easy, and I'm a little more complicated, I guess. Okay, you know what? Hang on. No. Let's back it up. I do have a story about my father. Um, It's not a. Okay, so here we go. When I was 14, I told you the story about the Super Nintendo that he bought for himself for Christmas. It was a very nice Super Nintendo. Not as nice as the two sweaters he bought me, but still pretty nice. So I was about 14, 13 or 14 at the time. I had a lovely little bowl cut, and I wore cardigans and turtlenecks. Just basically whatever my mom could get on clearance. That's what I wore. I don't know. I was not a fashionista. That was how he knew me. So when I was 14, he knew me as little, nice, precious little Matt. Okay. He disappeared for 7 years. I think it had a lot to do with child support, because he never, ever, ever paid any. But he just took off. And my mom, she was like, you know what? No, it's probably best. So she didn't pursue it. She just let him leave. And they were already divorced by this time. So I was 14, and he moved to, we found out later, Wisconsin, with this lady who ended up stealing my sister's identity and racking up a ton of money. And so when my sister tried to get student loans and found out that she was in debt, like tens of thousands of dollars, that was a whole fun thing. And how did my dad respond? With a big old shrug. So we haven't even gotten to the story yet. So he came back 7 years later. I was 14. Nope. I was 14 when last time he and I had spoken face to face. And then he comes back and I'm 21. Now, 14-year-old Matt was this cute, sweet, adorable little boy who just, he hadn't really found himself yet. He didn't have the courage to try. 21-year-old Matt had discovered punk rock. So when he sees me again, I am, my ears are pierced all up and down. I've got a mohawk. I've got tattoos. I look nothing like the picture he probably had in his wallet of me, if he even carried one. I don't know. But the first thing he said to me, after no communication for 7 years, was, "Do you do drugs?" So that was great. Nope, I sure don't. I was a forklift driver on a shipping dock for a book warehouse. I've talked about the book warehouse. And I was pretty good at my job, and my bosses liked me, and I was reliable and responsible, and no, I don't do drugs. Sorry to disappoint you or not live up to your expectations. But anyway, we were at my brother's apartment, and we were talking. It was my brother, his wife, and my dad and I. And we were just talking and going on and on and on. And he's like, "So are you dating anybody?" And I said, "Oh, no, there was this girl in high school and blah, blah, blah." And, just kind of shared some of that. And then I said, "Yeah, she's probably the reason I'm gay now." And there was a very, very long silence. My brother kind of crossed his arms and put his hand up to his mouth and nodded. And my sister-in-law turned her head and looked into the kitchen, just kind of, oof. I don't think either of them expected this awkward turn of events. And my dad took off his glasses, and he turned and he looked at me, and with this absolutely rabid expression said, "You're what?" And then we all laughed, because I'm not actually gay. We laughed and laughed and laughed, and I like to think that I took a few years off his life. I will take credit for that. That was, the poison didn't kill him, but it definitely weakened him. So that's when I realized, oh, okay, so he's back, but he's not back for me. He's back for the me that he wants me to be. Like, there is a limit. There's a limit. The mohawk, fine. The tattoos, fine. The piercings, fine. But God help me if I'm gay. I'm not kidding. If we hadn't laughed and if it hadn't been made clear very much right then and there that I was joking with him, that it was ha ha ha, I probably would have had to run out of that apartment to avoid a beating. That's the man my father was. So when I joke about him, about how he wasn't a good guy, how we didn't get along, we didn't need each other, we were fine, whatever, move on. I, if you feel like I'm being disrespectful to my father, I want you to know what kind of man he was. He was the kind of man who would have beat his son after not having seen him for 7 years because he might have been gay. So, and here's another interesting little thing. This is the person I was at age 19 thought it was okay to make a joke, and he thought it was a funny little ha 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 ha. You're gay, like it was some kind of insult. So I'm going to be fully open about that. I was still growing in my understanding of the world and how we all need to accept each other, and how the things that I had been raised on, the ideologies that I had been taught, were skewed. Were not the ideologies that I wanted to carry with me through the rest of my life. So 21-year-old Matt was not a lot better than his father was at the time, because I understood that he would be upset, and I was banking on it, and him being upset maybe at the time, I don't know. I don't want to act like I was some awesome great kid, because I was still pretty rotten. But I've grown, and I'm still growing, and I so hope that I get to do so much more growing. I don't want this me right now to be the me that I am for the rest of my life. I would like to be a better person. And I want to give people the benefit of the doubt. I'd like to give my dad the benefit of the doubt that he also wanted to grow and be a better person. But in order to grow and be a better person, you have to first acknowledge that there's something lacking, that you need to grow. My dad thought he was a perfectly fine guy. He thought he was A-okay. Gold star, A+, thumbs up. He didn't think there was any need to change. And if you had explained to him why, if you could even make him understand that, yeah, maybe you're not as great as you could be, his reaction would be, yeah, but I'm pretty good. At least I'm not gay. That would be him. He's not willing to put in the work. He never was. When he and my mother got married, they knew each other for 2 weeks. He thought he was going off to Vietnam. He thought he wasn't coming back. And he didn't want to leave, he wanted to leave someone behind. He wanted someone to miss him. He genuinely did not think he was coming home. And when he did, he was shocked that he didn't, that the rest of his life wasn't paved in gold. If he had known he was going to have to continue working hard for the rest of his life, he probably would have been a little less cautious in Vietnam, I think. He doesn't want to come back to more work. My dad was he was a lazy, unhelpful, I'm going to shush. I'm getting mean now. No, I didn't care for my father. He didn't care for me. We didn't understand each other. We didn't like each other. And I think we kind of realized that we don't really need each other. So, yeah. That's a really upbeat and fun story about my dad. I should come up with better stories. Wow. We could talk about my here's another interesting story. This is family dirt. Y'all want some family dirt? If any of my cousins are listening, y'all are going to be mad at me that I even brought this up. We're not entirely sure who my grandparents were. On paper, it was the people I called Grandma and Grandpa. But the truth of it, that was such a sweet shot. I can't help but think I'm on the right track. Thank you, universe, for verifying that I'm doing everything right. So on paper, we know who Grandma and Grandpa were. But in reality, there are some suspicions that maybe my aunt was not the. I don't know. I'm just saying. I called this lady my aunt, but she may have been my grandmother. She was quite a bit older than my father, and it was always kind of her responsibility to look after him. And even after she got married and moved away, he would often be sent over there. And the guy who I was told was my cousin, who may probably be my uncle, who he sure does look an awful lot like my dad. I mean, they could be fraternal twins. That's and they were only about 4 years apart or so, if that. And so yeah, there's some banjos strumming. So here's some less spicy family dirt. When my dad went off to Vietnam, there was this program where you could kind of like sign up with a buddy, and you'd go through basic training, and you would get, you'd enlist and basically be assigned a post with your buddy. They would keep you together, so you didn't have to go through it alone, which is an oddly compassionate and empathetic move on the part of the American military. But awesome, good job. Now, my that's how my father signed up. That's how he joined. And the guy he joined up with was a friend of his from high school, one of his best friends. And they agreed, and they, joined and did all that good stuff. Now, this friend of my dad's was seeing this lady who he really liked, and I think he fully intended on marrying. And they were gonna go on a double date because my dad's friend's girlfriend had a friend of her own, and that lady turned out to be my mom. That's how my parents met. They met because their best friends were dating. Now, why did my mom agree to go out with this guy? You agree. You agree to go out with your boyfriend's friend. I don't know. That's how you meet people, or you did once upon a time. It's not that crazy. But why did she agree to marry him 2 weeks later? Because, well, she was sort of had a thing for my dad's friend and had always kind of hoped that something would happen there. But once she realized, oh, no, he and my friend are definitely going to get married, she thought, well, the next best thing is to maybe marry his friend, and then at least I'll still have him around. He'll still be in my life a little bit. And boy, is that guy still in her life, because after my parents got divorced, my mom a few years later ended up marrying that guy. So that's how my mom and my stepdad met. Same way. So, you talk about banjos. Good Lord, there's some interesting. How long have I been playing? How long did this weird story about my dad take? I don't know. I think I overshot. I think I should be done, but I'm not. Anyway, I will be done now. That's it. That's all I'm gonna do. I love you guys so much. Thanks for listening to me trauma dump, and you guys are my therapy. I love you so much. Please don't charge me. And I will see you in the next one, where I'll try to think of other really just sad stories about my upbringing that I can share with you. So long and goodbye.